Hi, folks. Welcome to the Dr. Phil Show. And I'm going to start off by saying viewer discretion is highly advised. Today's show is about the exploitation of children that are being forced into the production of real estate marketing videos by their parents without any compensation. These children are being traumatized beyond belief, and we're going to get this discussion on today. Elise, are you traumatized by this video production?
Oh, darling, this is dreadful. I don't even know who I am anymore because of these videos.
That is awful. That is absolutely awful. Cannon, are you traumatized by these videos that you're forced into production on?
Yes, Dr. Phil. I am very traumatized by my dad making me do these silly work videos. All I want to do is ride my bike and be a normal teenager.
Hey, listen here, Mr. Dr. Phil, Mr. Lumpy Lump. You don't know about real estate. I'm selling these homes, and you don't understand. Bring my kids into this? Now you got fighting words going on.
Okay, what do you have to say?
Two-bath home right here in Mansfield. It's
ready
to go.
It's I got to pause on it. Okay, there we go.
You hit me with a surprise. I was not expecting that. That was pretty awesome.
Hey, look, listen, I spend the last week because I try to do a little bit of research, whenever I meet people and talk to them about this kind of stuff. And I spent hours going through your Facebook page.
Super creeper, liking it.
Yes. It was the funniest thing. Like, I was laughing my butt off for a long time, just because, like, you're next level with this stuff, man. This isn't like, you're not half committed. Like, you're fully pot committed all the way in with these kind of things.
I'm telling you. And my wife goes nuts with it because she's like, that was fine. And I'm like, no, I didn't like that angle.
Nope.
I want the projection to come from top. You got it. It's got to pan down. And she's like so frustrated. Like, it's fine. And I'm like, no, this is what she goes, are you a real estate agent or a video producer? Because, like,
look like a video producer to me, bro. Like, that's all I'm saying.
She's like, that seems to be what you care about the most. So, yes, I do enjoy that thoroughly. And we do have a big box in this playroom full of all of my dress up stuff. And oddly enough, my daughter, people come to me all the time and they're like, your daughter's so hilarious, but she hates it. She really does. She's like, Dad, when does my character die? She's like, I want her to just go away. And I'm like, but you can't, because that's what the fans like. They like you being that person, the little girl holding the martini glass. That's what people like to see.
Yes. No, she's awesome. She's always, very highly featured in many of your videos. So I know that she plays a big role in that. So, but yes. I figured that'd be the appropriate way to lead off, because I don't think there's anything that really describes you better and gives the people a sense of who you are other than that. I think that's definitely the best. Now, for those listening, you won't be able to see the full side of that, but either way, I thought that was hilarious. So
yeah.
All right. So here we are, Thursday, December 1st, and I'm with Justin Lackey with DRG Realtors, and he is joining me today. We're going to talk about lots of fun stuff, especially because this is one of the funniest guys I've ever met. We had the fortune to spend some time together on a golf course recently where we met, and had a great time. I actually remember you told me when you came out, you said that I told my wife before I came that I hope I don't have to sit there with some boring lender.
Dude, that was the truth. That was the exact truth. I said, God, if they pair me up with some lender that's just like, hey, I'd like to take you out for coffee, I'm like, oh God, no way. No.
Well, this isn't coffee. This is something a little different. Actually, speaking of coffee, so this was we are enjoying a nice beverage today, which is we just started. So, if we get a little 45 minutes into this and things get off the rails some, but we're having a little Crown today. So a little drink salute. Can I have a little cheers there. There we go, sir. Okay. Get a little drink.
Oh yeah. Forgot.
So we're going to have fun today. Get everything all nice and loose and, kind of really get into it. So Justin, whenever I start with this stuff, I always wanted people to tell, kind of their story. Like, how did you get from little tiny baby Justin to Mr. Super Listing Realtor? Like, what were the steps we went along the path to get here?
Okay. So years ago, I've always been in Mansfield. Okay. My family, we've had several businesses in Mansfield, Paragon Packaging, Utopia Fitness. We've had all these different things. I was a developer. I had a subdivision put in years ago, but ultimately I knew I could never work an 8 to 5 job. There's just no way. I mean, first of all, I can't dress that way.
Yeah, as we both sit here in t-shirts and whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. And I can't conform to, a schedule. So
Right.
I've always had kind of that business mindset. And years ago, my wife and I, we had owned 2 different gyms, and we sold one of them. And then while we had this other one going, it was mostly active on the weekend. It was more geared towards children. And so,
Which gym was that? Was that Utopia?
no, that was All Star Ninjas.
Oh yeah, the Ninjas. Okay.
Yeah. And so, so that was, with that being geared towards kids, I was literally doing nothing during the week. And I mean, I was absolutely bored. And so I went ahead and got my real estate license, and then COVID hit. And so, and oddly enough, Jennifer Thompson, my broker, she brought in her children to come in and play. And this was right before COVID hit. And I told her, hey, I'm about to sign on with this brokerage. She said, well, hang tight. I'm about to become a broker myself. And I think you'd be a great asset. And I did. And unfortunately, COVID killed all the testing centers, because she was taking her testing to become a broker right when COVID hit. So it literally left us dormant for 3 months before testing centers would open up and be allowed. And so she got her license. I jumped on board, and it's been gangbusters ever since.
Yeah.
What
why did you, when you met Jennifer, what was it about her and her ideals and thought what you were going to do at DRG that kind of attracted you to go there?
Jennifer and I have been friends for decades, and it was one of those that she just had such a positive energy and drive that she said, you know what, I'm going to push. And she goes, I'm going to go all the way, and I want you to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And so we made a deal within 30 minutes of all the terms and conditions and everything, and have not regretted it at all.
Well, it's funny how, money is always a factor, of course, in anything that you do, and what kind of deal you can get and all that kind of stuff. But really what becomes a bigger player in that kind of stuff is the relationship with the people that you work with, because you want those people, you don't want to work with a bunch of people that you don't like, that you may make a lot of money or get paid, but if you hate everybody, it's not fun.
Yes. And Jennifer and I, literally, if you heard us talk, you would be like, man, these people absolutely hate each other, because we go at each other so much.
Yeah.
But it's a perfect combination. And she's such a powerhouse and strong person, that it makes it an amazing relationship that she has with all of our agents in the office. And we've grown quite a bit now. I believe we're at 21 agents.
Yeah.
So pretty strong for 2.5 years.
No, that's fantastic. No, she's a hustler. She does not slow down. And her and her mom both been doing this a long time. And, you being a former entrepreneur yourself, you get attracted to those type of people, because when you know that, hey, I'm going to give every ounce of what I have to make sure that this is successful for me.
Right.
I want the people that I'm working with and working for to have the same mentality, and always with the drive.
Without a doubt. And, a lot of my success is from my drive and everything, but the tools and everything, and the leadership and the go-to and knowledge and everything that we're sharing in the office is so massive.
Yeah.
So massive.
Yeah.
So
how'd you meet your wife?
So she actually was an employee of ours at Utopia. And honest to God,
you're fraternizing with employees.
No, it was awful. Like, thank God we did not have HR, because the second I saw her, I knew. I was like, okay, that's the chick for me. I promise you. And not to get weird and twisted, but I saw her. She was like, never mind. I'm not going to tell you. But I know. But anyway, so on Black Friday of 1998, I begged her for over 3 hours. I wouldn't let her leave this room until she agreed to go out with me.
Right.
And I mean, like,
that'd be frowned upon today, by the way.
Yeah, big time. I'm so glad that was in the 90s.
It was okay then.
Like then it's like guys are applauding. You held her captive in a room until she agreed to go out with you. That's the way to go. But now it's like, oh my God, But no, so now very blessed that she, went out on that sympathy date. That was awesome, because my life would not be the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did Your kids are like, tell me how old you are again.
I'm 48.
You're 48. Okay. So I'm 44, I
Yeah.
think, something like that. But your kids are a little bit younger than mine. So y'all waited a little bit before you had the kiddos.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was awesome. We did good
Yeah.
because like, it was like every month we were either going to Vegas or Cancun for years.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, and then we had this killer house that had this awesome pool. We're
You're living it up.
dude. We were throwing parties like 4 to 5 nights a week, just, all the time. And her brothers were always there. It was always a blast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you can, when you're in a relationship like that, especially in the beginning with marriage, the more things that you can do to bring each other together and spend time together and find commonalities. And, because once you add the kids into the mix, then it's great. Don't get me wrong. Like, kids are awesome, but it does affect your relationship with with your wife or your husband, depending on what you guys are doing.
Without a doubt. Yeah. So yeah, if you're not marrying somebody with the common interest, like things that you're into or do, or that balances you, then it's a wreck that's going to happen.
Well, I met this guy one time. I worked on a cruise ship for years, or not years, for about a year or two. Years ago is what I meant to say. But for about a year or two, I worked on a cruise ship, worked for Royal Caribbean, and I was a bartender when I first got on.
No way.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. You were Isaac.
I was Isaac. Yes, absolutely.
You were Isaac of the Love Boat.
That is exactly who I was.
No afro.
No afro. Well, no, it was close to this. I wasn't here yet, but it was close. I was on my way there. I was fast approaching it.
Okay, sorry. I can squirrel. Like, dude, here in a minute, I'm gonna start doing some
Please.
quotes of Captain Stubing. So.
I love squirrels. I'm chase them all the time. But so I met this older gentleman, and he was probably at the time, probably late 70s, early 80s, something like that. And he was on his cruise with his wife, and him and his wife had been married for, I want to say, like 40 years. Like, it had been a long time, 50 years, something like that. And he was telling me that they had booked this cruise prior to them, year or two ago, because you have to book them that far in advance.
Gotcha.
But since he had booked it and then now that they were on it, they were actually getting a divorce.
Ooh.
So this guy's almost 80 years old, and he's getting a divorce from his wife that he's been married to for like 50 years. And I'm just like, okay, well, at this point, man, like, aren't we kind of all in, here?
Yeah.
And he told me something. He was like, look, my wife and I, when we first met, because again, he's 80, almost 80 years old. They got married in their early 20s, late teens.
Right.
So this was, in the 50s or whatever, my math's questionable, but it's a different era. Right.
Right.
And so once they got married, they immediately had kids. Like that was and I think he even said like, that's kind of why we got married. But, so at the beginning of their relationship, they had kids. Well, they had something like 6 or 7 kids.
Whoa.
So from the time they were married until the time the last kid left, which was, 30, 40 years. Like he had said that his oldest or his youngest daughter had just graduated from college, like a year ago. And he said, I just woke up one day and I didn't know this person that I was living with. Like I didn't know him.
Right. Right. So you've got to be in tune with them.
Yes.
And just last night, because I always overbuy at Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And my kids, and it always drives my wife. It drives her batshit crazy.
Yes.
It does. It just makes her go nuts. And so last night she was like, why do you do this? And I said, I'm doing it and I'm gonna do it again. So be ready.
Buckle up.
Don't expect different.
Yes.
Don't expect different. So yeah. So no, that and so she knows me. She, we've gone on trips where I didn't even know where we were. I didn't know what hotel we were at. I didn't know anything. She handles 100% of that. So yeah, there's a definite balance of things that I handle that she handles, that, our teamwork is just, it's spot on for us.
Yeah. My wife says when we do our trips and stuff, she's like the, she's like central command, and I'm what she calls boots on the ground, meaning like she's going to make sure everything's put together. We're going to have the right flight. We're going to have the hotel. We're going to have all the stuff lined up. But then when we get there, it's on me. Like I got to figure out what we're going to do, where we're going to go.
That's awesome.
And in the beginning, she didn't like that too much because I'm if I'm going to the beach, okay, fine. Sit on the beach, relax, have a couple days. But if we're going somewhere, like if we're going to Disney World, or we're even going to Maui, or like somewhere we're not going to be at maybe ever again, or once, or we're going to do some shit. Like we're going to do some stuff.
Oh yeah.
I'm scheduling things. We're riding horses. We're going to see volcanoes. We're doing stuff all the time.
Dude, I swear I think me and you are our grandfathers. I think
We're gonna go back far enough in the tree. We're gonna find
that,
it. Yeah.
that I promise you, our DNA is linked up somehow. My grandpa hooked up with your grandma. I don't know what
We got
it
the
was.
same hair gene. So
Dude, it's definitely there.
Yeah.
It's definitely there. But no, it's something, because I'm that same way. I cannot stop. Once we get somewhere, my wife is like, "Can we just sit today?" And I'm like, "No, we're not going to sit.
No.
Let's rock and roll. Let's go." So
well, but part of that is what I would imagine is part of your success is that, you're not, I think you and I are probably similar in like on a Saturday or something. Like I love football. I'm big into sports. My kids play all kinds of sports. And when I was younger in my 20s, I could sit on the couch for 6 hours and watch an NFL or college football weekend. No problem. But now that I'm older, I don't care.
Right.
Like I really don't. I just don't care. And like, I mean, I'm a Cowboys fan. I watch the Cowboys, but the other day my son was like, "Hey, I want to watch, Ohio State and Michigan." And I was like, "Okay, great. Let's go down and watch it." And he was there for like 10 minutes, because of course he's thinking, "Oh, it's going to be great." And then he goes back up to his room, starts playing video games. And I'm sitting there watching at halftime, and it was a good game, and I was enjoying it, but like, I'm bored out of my mind. Like I got to get up and go do some stuff because I can't sit here all day long.
Oh, I'll tell the kids, we'll be getting in late from doing something, basketball games or something. I'm like, "Okay, tomorrow's chore list." Okay. And they're like, "Oh my God." And and I always mess with them. I'm like, "We're trimming trees tomorrow." And they're like, because they really believe me.
Yeah.
They're like, "Can we not trim like it's a Miyagi tree out there or something, that needs trimming every 40 minutes or something." But no. Yeah. So no, you got to be a mover and shaker on things. So,
well, we were talking about this before we went on is, we were talking about raking leaves and you were blowing leaves off your gutters this morning. And it's kind of one of those things where I think you have to constantly stay in motion.
Yes.
You got to keep moving. And obviously, I know you guys bike and you run marathons and you do all that stuff too, which is great because that's like the exercise physicality part of it. But just having tasks to accomplish every day, I think is a big thing. Like I think you have to have that in order to, not, when people talk about retirement, they're like, "Well, when I retire, I'm going to go sit on a beach." It's like, okay, that's great. But I mean, then what? You're just gonna sit on the beach for 20 years? Like, I don't understand.
Oh, I'm gonna be the old guy in a banana hammock riding his bike down the beach.
Right.
That's what I'm gonna be. Like that. That's my goal. If I don't get there, I'm gonna be very upset. Very upset.
You're gonna have the special seat so it kind of
Yes.
You can't have your basic bike seat because if you're gonna go with the banana hammock, like you gotta show it.
There's no way you can be a normal Floridian and be out there in a swimsuit.
Have you ever seen that guy? He's on I think he's on TikTok where he's got like a flip phone and he's always joking about
yes
living in Florida. It's like, "Oh, I got it on my flip phone," but it's all these crazy clips of like people wrestling alligators and chasing anacondas out of a river and stuff.
Dude,
it's nuts.
I've got to be that guy.
Yeah,
I've got to.
Well, your unique sense of humor definitely adds to your business. So I want to show this. And at first when I saw this, I thought that this was like Photoshop, but then I realized I read a couple more comments and it's not. I mean, this is what you do. So you literally bought a billboard, and I don't know where this is. You can tell me. And this is what I think this is amazing. Like I love Bob Ross. Like he's one of my favorite people. I used to use him to go to sleep when I was in high school because it was, it's like before ASMR was invented. He was like the OG ASMR guy. So where is this? And do you still have it?
Oh yeah, it's on Heritage right there at 917 heading out of town. Yeah. Here in Mansfield, yeah.
Where did you first off, nobody buys billboards anymore.
Right.
That's rare in and of itself. And then second off, what were you like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it up right. Yeah. So what was the thought process there?
Well, so, I was like, man, that I need to do something different because that's the thing that always bugs me about, real estate agents is, and they're like, "Hey, call me if you want to list your house.
Yeah.
Call me if you want to buy a house." I can throw a rock in there and hit 900 of those agents right now. So it's like, what?
You gotta stand out.
You got to stand out. So, I mean, in one day, I got several calls from several different people. I had 2 calls and 1 text of people that are really high up, like state official type people.
Yeah.
And they were like, that I've met from over the years of being in the gym business and things. And they were like, "That's friggin' hilarious." That made me laugh. And I was like, wait a minute. I'm that Garth Brooks song. I'm that Friends in Low Places. I'm the low places guy. Because I've got these people in high places that are texting me going, "Hey man, that's awesome. No way would I wish I could get away with doing that." And I'm like, well, yeah. You know, so,
what are you saying?
What are you saying? What are you saying?
Only I could get away with something like that.
Yeah. So my next one, and I don't know, my next billboard that I'm thinking about doing is I want to do Photoshop a mohawk.
Okay.
And do me as Mr. T.
I love it already.
Okay. And saying, I pity the fool that don't use me as a real estate agent.
I think that's amazing.
Yeah. See, so I'm looking for that billboard location right now for that one, because I think that would be
I think, you know, if you could find another one on here, because imagine if you're driving down the road, right, and you're just cruising down the road and you see this guy in a Bob Rock, you know, and you're like, oh, that's pretty funny, you know, you're like, ah, ha, ha. And then about 2 or 3 miles down the road, you see Mr. T, and you're like, wait a minute, was that this? That's the same guy. And then like 5 minutes up the road again, you see, like, what is going on?
Why does he do that?
Did I end up in the Twilight Zone? Like, how did I get here where I see this guy up on a billboard all the time?
Yeah, that's funny stuff. So yeah, that's.
Well, one of the things that cracks me up about your Facebook feed, which, by the way, if anybody's never been to Justin's Facebook page, please go look, because literally you can scroll for hours and laugh your butt off about all this stuff. So I pulled a few more from that I want to show you. And so you do this thing called Rise and Grind.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So tell me first off, like, have you always done this, or was this something you started doing?
No. Like
at some point, like when did that begin?
So I've never had a paycheck.
That's guaranteed to you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's always been, you know, being a personal trainer, being a gym owner, you know,
you've been an entrepreneur your whole life.
Yeah. You don't know if, you know, you got $200 coming in next week or 20,000.
Right.
You don't know.
Right.
So every day is a grind.
Right.
Every day. And so I would always, whenever I'd wake up, I'd always want to humor myself and others, you know, with, hey, time to get up and get after it.
It was kind of like your cue to get the day started, basically.
Yeah. And what's funny is I get so many different people. They message me on Messenger. They text message me. They're like, hey, post this one. Do this one. This one's great.
I've got several that I picked out myself. This one cracked me up because like you read it, you go, it's always funny when you read stuff like this, because you read it and you're like, oh my gosh. Yes.
Yeah. What were you doing?
Somebody walked
you discover that you could get milk from a cow like that. Yeah. What were you doing?
You have this, I just imagine this person, you know, hey guys, guess what? There's this substance that you can drink, and you know, like, oh,
if
really?
Get down there and suck on that cow right there.
So this was a great one. Then I've got, this was, you know, I thought this was apropos because I got my Guns N' Roses shirt on today.
Yeah.
So I actually, it's funny, I went and saw them in concert, and when he was at this phase.
Same here.
Yes.
Dude,
did you go to that American Airlines one?
No, I went to the Gexa or Smirnoff, whatever it is now.
Yes.
Yeah. Star Telegram Center.
Well, I think he's actually maybe slimmed down a little more since he was on tour, like running around on stage for a while. But that one cracked me up just because, you know, I loved Guns N' Roses and I still do. But, you know, the fact Axl used to be like 105 pounds. And,
right. His elbow was the biggest part of his arm.
Right. And now he's like 300.
Yes.
You know, hey, look, Father Time gets us all. You know, there's no escaping that. You gotta do what you gotta do. But and then we've got this is one of my favorite memes that everybody throws something on it.
Yes.
So I thought this one was funny too. Where do you find these things?
Honestly, I've got a big following of different degenerate sites that I follow.
I thought you were going to say different degenerate people, because that seemed funny.
Well, no, I've got one buddy of mine in particular. I'll just call him Grandy, but and he and I like it's a true battle, and I mean like when we're throwing memes at each other.
Yeah.
If you throw out a repeat, you get called out on it. Okay. You know, I mean, it's one of those where, but literally all of ours can't be shared because it's like okay,
you still got to sell houses to people.
I still got to be somewhat cool about it. So
I understand you got to keep it limited, but
yes.
The side chick one I was a big fan of. This one too took me a second, and then it cracked me up too. Just the whole
twerking
twerking at a barbecue, like. What I want to know is if that's actually a sign somewhere. It feels like it's a little bit photoshopped in there, but either way.
No, it's a pregnant chick.
Well, no, I get that. But like, is there a parking space in America that has that sign actually somewhere?
I would think so.
You would think so?
Yeah, I like to believe in my memes.
Yes, hey, look.
I'm a true meme believer. Oh no, he's singing.
And then this was one that I really wanted to do to my wife when I saw it.
Is she a fake eyelash chick?
Well, she was. She used to be. Which, I mean, look, I've always told her, and I don't know what how you deal with this with your wife, but I've always told her that because she'll get her haircut, right? I got my haircut today. I'm like, okay, great. And she'll come home and she'll kind of, and I'll forget that she told me she got her haircut. And she's like, well, what do you think? I'm like, about what?
Oh, no.
She's like, I got my haircut today. I was like, it looks good. She's like, you didn't even notice. I got 6 inches cut off. I'm like, I don't like, I tell her, I was like, you are you. So when I see you, I just see you. I don't see your eyelashes and your hair and what outfit you're wearing that day. You're just always you. So unless there's some kind of dramatic change that you've made, like if you shaved your head off, okay, or hair off, I'd probably notice that. But other than that, like you always look beautiful to me, babe. So I never really noticed those things.
See, my go-to, I love to pester my wife, and I mean, it's amazing that she hasn't figured it out yet.
Yeah,
because I always imply that I want her to dress like Lita Ford. I don't know if you remember Lita Ford. She's like,
I've heard the name, but I can't.
Like sang with Ozzy all the time. Okay, big feathered out, poofed up hair, Aquanet everywhere and everything. And I'm like, you need to dress more like her and everything. And she's like, what is wrong with you? Who would dress like that? Who would, and I'm like,
you're like, well, I'm not saying outside the house. I'm just saying like around here every once in a while.
Well, actually, I am outside.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, it'd be so cool would be to go to a Rat concert. And you dress like that. And she's like, what the hell is wrong with you? No, I'm not dressing like that.
Well, you could even drive to the concert in a Camaro, and maybe she'd go a little Tawny Katane on the front.
Yeah, there we go.
On the front of the car. I mean, I'm just throwing out ideas for you, man.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
She's gonna put a divider up on us.
I'm sure your wife is really gonna appreciate that for sure.
Yeah, she's at work. She's
okay, good. So she's not. Well, she'll get to it later. Maybe.
Oh no.
So yeah, I love the mustache one because it's even got the nice little divider there, which is pretty apropos. This looks like what's the guy from the Princess Bride? It says he killed my father. Can't remember his name. But that's what that beautiful young lady looks like. And then this one, the last one here, just really cracked me up. Just because you're a gangster doesn't mean you can't be sexy.
I know. Look at this guy with the thong, man.
So that's just a sample and a taste of what you can expect when you visit Justin's Facebook page, because it is definitely an entertainment source for anytime you're bored. Go check it out. You'll have a good laugh.
It will lift you up.
Yes, there's no doubt about that. So I feel like, I mean, all this stuff, and you have a lot of videos, by the way. The very first video, if you haven't watched it, go to the very beginning of the podcast, and you'll see one of his videos. He's got, I don't know how many of those you think you got, 30 of those, 40 of those.
Yeah, there's a bunch.
You got a bunch. Forrest Gump. You've got Dr. Phil a couple times, I think.
Yeah, and I've got the Clue video. The Clue video was really cool.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Oh, that was cool.
No,
that was
okay.
Cool. Where I went through the whole house. That was cool.
Oh, okay, so, like the Clue the movie, or
Clue the
board game. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, because I mean, it's based off the same thing, but I don't know if you did it off that. Well, so you do those videos. Obviously, now those are for selling the houses and trying to get people to watch and get eyeballs to laugh at it. And then you have the rise and grind, which is something that you do, you've just always done. So it's just kind of your personality. But somebody from the outside looking in would go, okay, well, this guy's a really good strategic marketer. Like he really puts a lot of thought into this on what's going to be effective. And I think you put a lot of thought into putting the videos together, but are you looking at, I also see you as just being like, well, this is just me. Like, I just like doing this stuff and it's fun. It's not, I mean, marketing's more of a secondary thing, I think, in this world. Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, it's definitely, and kind of going back to just being out there, just putting yourself out there and being different, because, you could scroll through your news feed right now on Facebook and you would see,
happy families, kids, sports events,
everyone's you might see a political one,
right? Oh yeah, you'll definitely see a political one.
Yeah, and then you'll see, you'll see an agent, put, got this contract going or doing this, and then but then you look at at what kind of feedback it's getting, and it's not getting positive feedback.
No.
And so, I had an agent. This was about 3 months ago. She stopped me in the grocery store and said, I follow you, and she goes, I wish I could put myself out there like that.
Yeah.
I'm just too nervous in front of a camera. And I'm like, oh no, I bomb every time. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
like, my kids are wondering, when are we going to be done shooting this? I mean, it's truly a hated moment in my family. But then when we go back and watch it, and especially my son, because he's getting to that age where it's like, okay, I don't want any chicks watching this.
Yeah. I got ladies to think about that. I can't have you.
And I'm like, I tell my son, I'm like, I promise you, none of your potential girlfriends are watching this short bald guy.
No,
dress up like Forrest Gump.
Yes, yes.
You're clear.
Yes.
You're clear. So, but no, it's definitely fun as far as the marketing side of coming up with ideas. Like I've already got like 4 more projected ideas of what I'm doing. Different videos. Like I've got one coming up with Crocodile Dundee. And,
okay.
Okay. Yeah. So,
do you make them specific to a property, or do you kind of do a general one and then at the end kind of make it about that property?
So like I had this one listing in Arlington that was just all these massive hardwood trees.
Yeah.
Big, 2.5 acres. So I went as Bigfoot. And,
okay.
And it was a horrible I ordered this Bigfoot mask off of Amazon.
No. Well, if it was a good Bigfoot, that's not funny.
Dude, this thing was awful. And it was in the summertime, and you put this mask on and it felt like you had a trash bag over your face. You were like, okay, we got to shoot this video in like 4 seconds and it's going to be.
I'm going to die.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a one shot and done.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, I mean, there were scenes where I'm Bigfoot and I'm in the shower, and I'm taking a shower and everything. And I'm like, so yeah. Oh yeah. I talked to you about taking a shower today.
Yes. That's exactly right. Yeah. We almost took a shower today.
Yeah. So last night, my wife, we're at dinner and my wife looks over at my son and she goes, yeah, Dad's doing his podcast tomorrow. And he talked about showering with this guy. and I never corrected her that I never brought it up that I was
like, no, that's true. That's absolutely true.
We would be in separate showers.
Yes. It would be, I mean, it's not necessarily this, or we'd have shorts on maybe, maybe. Well, I don't think,
we've lost out.
Oh yeah, you're fine. Don't worry. It all comes later. Okay. The thing is I don't think people understand that humor is just such a facet of life that people need in their day-to-day existence, that trying to be, I think in our world, especially in real estate, everybody wants to be the professional, right? Everybody they have the suit and the tie or the pantsuit or, and they're talking about how, we're going to take great care of you as a customer and we're going to serve all your needs. And, we're going to do all the stuff that it's like, I'm watching Mad Men again in the 50s, and they're presenting this image of this, buttoned up corporation that's going to serve all your needs. And I don't get me wrong. I'm sure there's a certain segment of the population that applies to, and that would, they would find appealing.
Right.
But I think the vast majority of people just want a little levity to their day. And all your job is as a marketer, and in whatever business it is, whether you're running a gym or you're selling real estate or whatever the case may be, is to grab people's attention.
Yes.
That's your job.
Right.
Get their attention.
Right. Once
Once you have their attention and they're engaged in whatever activities that you're doing,
yes,
then you can try to sell them something, if that's what you want to call it.
Without a doubt. Putting it out there to where someone's going to actually grab it,
right,
and take it.
Right.
I had one listing, and there wasn't anything really in particular about the house that I could make it geared towards, but it was right before school was starting.
Yeah.
So I went with the Billy Madison.
Yes. Yes.
Back to school, back to school.
Uh-huh.
And so I did that. And actually the buyer's agent that contacted me said, man, I've been laughing my ass off watching that, because he said, I truly love Billy Madison.
Yeah.
He said, I watched it like 4 times because I was laughing so hard. He said, you actually sound like Adam Sandler. And I said, wow, out of all the compliments I could get, I'm like, wow.
You actually sound like Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And so I'm sitting there, and he said, after I watched it the 4th time, I was like, well, let me look up this property. He said, and I looked it up, and it checked all the boxes on my buyers.
Yeah.
And they submitted an offer, and and we actually closed in 11 days.
Yeah.
And he said, honest to God, it was because of that video.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there dying laughing. I'm like, so I took this home that had nothing special about it, in particular.
Just your basic house and
Yeah,
anybody,
yeah,
yeah.
and ran with it with that video. Whereas, had I just put out the, hey, look at my new list,
Right.
and
Let's take a tour. This is
yeah.
300,000 or 3,000 square feet.
Yeah,
Here's
exactly.
a bathroom. Look at that bathroom. Isn't it amazing?
Right. Yeah, it was a 3-2 bet.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, so no, that one definitely paid off.
And I think today, what's crazy, or not crazy, but the benefit that this kind of, which you've been doing this forever. So it's not like this, you were doing this when you didn't need to.
Right.
Like when you could just put up a listing and it would sell in 3 seconds. You didn't need to do a video. Like it wasn't necessary.
I had videos made for homes that I hadn't even listed yet.
Yeah.
And as one home in particular, I was putting a sign out and an agent was driving by and said, "Are you really selling this house?" And I was like, "Yeah."
But
and in my mind,
the video hasn't gone out yet.
But I want to put a video out, and I'm like, what do? I really want this video to go out. Yeah. So back when the market was insanely hot, yeah, I was still doing them.
Well, and then today, fast forward to now where the market shifted. And so now we went from, 12 months ago, it was very much a seller's market. So if you wanted to buy a house, you were at the mercy of the seller, essentially. Like there's an old, video gif or something that was going around the internet at that time where it was like this guy in his kitchen and he's going, okay, we're listing this house for sale right now. And we're going to start off at $300,000. And then you flash over to him. It's like, we're first-time home buyers, and we'd like to know, what kind of amenities are available in the neighborhood. He's like, haha, real funny. Okay, anyway, we're starting at 300.
Exactly.
Like, I'll do 350. And like,
exactly.
Well, what about no, I'll do 360. And it's just like going around the room.
You can have my kidney.
Yes. Yeah. So that's the market we were in, and you were making videos for that then. And now we're in a market where it's shifted very much to the buyers, having a little more strength. Now, I will say, it's crazy how fast things move. But just in the last couple of months, really, November, we're going into December, I think it's starting to move in the other direction. I had a couple offers with some agents I work with that they were in multiple offer situations again, and they lost out. Full price offers, a little bit of closing cost concession. One of them, they pulled it out completely, and they still lost that deal. And that was one of those where I'm like, well, that one's coming in because they're definitely going to get the offer. But so I think it's starting to shift.
Right.
But my point is that if you're listing a house right now, you are in a position to where you have to give something or show something that's different than everybody else,
without a doubt, to
attract buyers and attract agents to come in. And we were talking about listing agents offering or putting in the listing that they're going to only offer the buyer's agent 2% commission as opposed to 3%, and how that. We understand the reasoning, right? You're trying to save money, like you're doing a job for your client. We understand that, but it puts you at a disadvantage, especially in this market, right?
Big time. Because there's so many builders are throwing out incentives. Yeah, there's so many things that are going on right now because people are builders are trying to get rid of their inventory, right? Trying to dump it all. Sellers are thinking, what the hell,
well, anybody that is selling right now, if you're listing your house today, or again, I do think it's changing a little bit, but if you're listing your house today, you're doing it because you have to, right? I think there were a lot of people, 12 months ago that were like, hey, let's just see what we can get.
Let's see if we can hammer down on a buyer.
Right. Let's just see if we can get something crazy for our house and we'll just list it. And a lot of them did. And they're like, well, this is great. We got an extra $60,000 more than we expected. But today, you're not doing that. Right. Today, if you're listing your house, it's because you're moving or, you got a new job, you're trying to move kids' schools, whatever. You don't have an option. So you're not listing your house for fun, I guess is what I'm saying, right?
No, the buyers absolutely have an upper hand right now.
Yes.
Because they can come in, they can ask for, repairs, they can ask for this, they can ask for so many more things. Right. So it's balanced it back out, very quickly. And a lot of people get in that whole thing of, you're not married to the rate. You can, you can refinance and you can
date the rate, marry the house.
Yeah. That whole thing. But it's one of those things where if you look at it, buying and selling a home, moving is one of the major things that happens to you in life. There's the birth of your children, there's your wedding, there's graduation from college.
The wedding's okay. Let's not get overworked. Love you, dear.
Oh, dude. So,
squirrel. Go ahead, squirrel.
Okay, I've got a squirrel.
Got a squirrel.
So I used to joke with people that I wanted to have a business called Wedding Proxy. Okay.
I like where this is going.
To where you would like, oh God, look, Jenny, we got invited to this wedding in Sacramento. We really should go. All right. Well, how much are tickets? They're $2,000 round trip, and then hotels
Hotel, yeah.
500
And a gift. And
Yeah. Well, there's this new proxy company that we could hire. We call the Sacramento location.
Uh-huh.
The guy's going to show up. We're going to FedEx him a gift. He's going to take the gift personally.
Right.
He's going to sign the guest registry, Justin Lackey.
They'll never know.
They'll never know.
They'll never know.
He's gonna email back pictures of the bridesmaids' dresses, the temperature of the wedding.
Couldn't you could also like take pictures of yourself with you and your wife dressed up.
Yes.
And then like he could Photoshop the background.
Yes.
So you could be like, hey, we had a great time at your wedding.
Yeah, that was great. Like, hey,
we never saw you guys. Oh, y'all, there were so many people there. Y'all were so busy.
Give him our Facebook password where he can log us in and everything. Like, hey, we checked in there at the wedding.
I love it.
Yeah. And then it's like, hey, wedding proxy is $50. It's like, hey man, it's way worth it. I said, but here's going to be the bad part. I said, and I was truly jokingly thinking of this whole idea.
Uh-huh.
And I thought, someday I'm going to have my daughter's wedding, and I'm going to look out
have
there.
a bunch of proxies.
It's going to be this church full of proxies of, these people that it's like, I don't even know y'all. And they're all like, yeah. I'm like, damn it, that backfired big time.
Whoops. So, I mean, I was able to pay for this wedding because of my proxy business.
Yeah, it's cycled over,
dear, but unfortunately, nobody showed up. So I apologize. The thing is that would work out really great for the husbands, because and the wives would get on board, but they would get on board like at the last minute.
Yeah.
Because everything with my wife is, hey, we're going to go do this thing next week. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like I'm down for whatever. Like, I don't care. Let's go hang out. Let's go party.
Right.
You want to sit at home? We can sit at home.
Right.
You want to go out? We'll go out. Fine. But then as we get like the day of, she's like, I don't really think I want to go.
See, and that's when the proxy company
that's when it
hammer down.
No, you already had them. You already had them ready to go. You're like, hey guys, I'm going to call you at 12 o'clock on the day. I promise you, it's going to happen. I'm going to use you, but I'm going to give you the go ahead then.
Dude,
she's
how
like,
funny would that be?
Oh, babe, I'm really not in the mood for it. You're like, all right, cool.
Call it wedding proxy.
I think it's genius.
It's going to take off. And now I shared it with the world, and
someone else is going to do it.
Watch.
But
8 days later, it's going to be wedding proxy.
Hey, look, we just shared your billboard with the world, and I promise you, no one's going to be putting that up tomorrow. Okay, so I don't think you have anything to worry about. I think you're going to be good.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Conrad agrees. He thinks that it sounds like a great idea until you get the small ceremony of people. You're like, wait a minute, I thought they were inviting hundreds of people. Like, no, there was only 7 of us.
Yeah, and you look out and you're like, okay, I definitely know you're like a proxy.
I picked the wrong one. So then back to the videos for the listing. So
sorry,
you now have to set yourself up in a place where, as a listing agent, that you have to differentiate yourself between every other house that's available for sale, which we're still in a place. And that's the thing I think a lot of, I think agents realize this to some extent, but buyers especially have no idea, and sellers, there still aren't that many houses for sale.
No,
it's not like we're, I see all this stuff. I post videos about this sometimes, or little reels about this market crash that everybody keeps talking about.
Right.
And I'm like, unless we have a massive job layoff,
right,
I don't see where that's coming from.
No.
They'll certainly be coming down. I mean, home prices went up over the last 2 years. They went up 48%.
Right.
It's insane. And that's in DFW.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is unsustainable.
Right.
So it has to come down some. But even since then, since rates went up 400%, the prices have only dropped by like 10%. They've barely come down.
Right. And I think in Mansfield, I want to say there's around 263 homes total or so.
Yeah.
And a lot of those are new construction.
Which, by the way, aren't going to be ready for
6
to 8 months. So you're not moving in anytime soon.
Right.
Right.
Right. So yeah, inventory is still not insanely high.
Right.
So it's definitely, it's up, but it's not where it needs to be in order for it to be at full advantage.
Right. Well, and with I mean, the last, 2 or 3 days for mortgage rates have been actually really good.
Yes.
I haven't looked this morning because we had a really big day yesterday, or positive day for rates. And I haven't checked this morning, but I mean, we're getting into the low 6s again, maybe even the high 5s.
Right.
Where there was a lot of people thinking we were going to be, in the 10% range in the next couple of months. And we're actually trending in the other direction.
Right.
And the thing that I keep telling people is that, sorry, I keep coughing over here, clearing my throat. We were supposed to do this 2 weeks ago, and I've been sick for like 2 weeks, so it's been a barrel of fun. But anyway, we're starting to see with the rates going back down, you're going to have people that have been waiting and thinking, okay, well, I don't want to buy a house when the rates are 7.5%. And now they start to see them trending back down, and they're going, okay, well, I think now we can get back in.
Right.
But so does everybody else.
Right.
And then you see that 10% decline in prices on homes go the other direction.
Right.
Because we still don't have enough homes.
Right.
And the demand had slowed significantly, but now it's starting to pick up again.
Right. And, like you said, if once rates get, 6, 5, 5.8, stuff like that, then you'll start getting more offers on those homes.
Yes.
And then that seller's going to be at a position where they're like, no, I don't want to give you $1,500 allowance for 2 window screens.
That's right. Well, there's a small part of me, and because like I said, I've been preaching this on the social medias for the last couple of months, but there's a part of me right now that thinks that window of the buyers being in full control is actually starting to close. I do think, and again, it's just what I've experienced personally. It's anecdotal for the last couple of days, but literally having buyers miss out on properties completely when they're offering full price and no concessions at all.
Right. Well, if you want me to give you my crystal ball.
Yeah. Crystal ball me.
And I'm not talking about my skull.
Yeah. We both have crystal balls.
Very shiny.
Okay. Predicting the future.
So what I'm foreseeing is because these builders are putting out all these stupid deals. I mean, I got an email the other day. When you execute a contract and the next week we have a Christmas tree and you can come pull an ornament off and it might have $1,000 or $5,000.
It's like we're going to McDonald's and playing Monopoly.
I know it. I'm like, and I'm still asking, is that even legal for them to go, well, you get a different bonus. You get a different bonus. Anyway,
builders have a very big lobby.
Right.
And so the only ones that have bigger lobbyists are the realtors. Yeah. Congratulations. But builders can get away with pretty much anything.
You got to check out my lobby.
Yeah.
It's big.
It's big.
It's a big lobby.
I got the biggest lobby known to man.
You wouldn't believe my lobby. Yeah. Anyway. So anyway, no, on a serious note, what I'm foreseeing is these builders are clearing their inventory out so much. And they're not doing as many starts as they were in March.
Single family housing starts are down.
Yeah. So then what we're going to foresee in April is going to be another nightmare of inventory.
Yes.
Because now we're going to be in the imbalance that we were, but the imbalance that we were in was because they couldn't get refrigerators, they couldn't get lumber, they couldn't get ovens, they couldn't get
supply side issues.
Yeah. So that's what shut down. That's what made the chaos go that way. And now that all that's corrected, but now we don't have the foundation starts right now that we need for home completions in the future. Now we're going to be right back into the pre-owned home market where those are going crazy.
Well, what the Fed did when they started raising rates at such a pace that what they did is, and this is, from a moron's opinion, but I am well versed in a lot of this stuff for the most part, but most of the inflation problems that we dealt with were related to one of 3 things. It was either supply side, meaning we couldn't get because of COVID.
Yeah.
You had shipping containers that were stuck in,
Bangladesh.
Couldn't even get offload. China had and is still basically completely shut down.
Right.
So the stuff that they're exporting out of there, which is where we get a good chunk of our goods from, is taking forever. So that started to ease up. You're seeing Walmarts and Targets and all these giving massive sales and basically giving stuff away. Apple is having like one of the biggest sales that they've ever had on a lot of their stuff because it's always been static, but because they're overloaded in supply now, that's not an issue. But that's where a lot of the inflation came from a while back. Then you also had oil and gas, which again was a big component of what OPEC was doing about pulling back supply. But everything with oil and gas, I think people don't understand that it takes months and years sometimes. Like if you're going to, people are like, why don't we just pump more stuff here? Well, because we don't have the ability to refine it here. We can make the gas, or I should say we can pump the oil out of the ground, but we don't necessarily refine it as heavily here as we can do other places. And so to get those factories built and get that stuff going, that takes a lot of time.
Oh, and the manpower and everything else.
Right. So if OPEC just decides they're going to turn down their supply and not create as much, well, they can do that. And we won't feel the effects of that for about a month or two, because that's how long it takes to cycle through. Well, so raising interest rates has zero impact on that. You can't
Right.
change what they're going to do with oil and gas. And the other thing, the third thing that affected it was food. So grocery bills, restaurant bills, everything was going higher and still is.
Right.
And a lot of that has to do with the war in Ukraine, because Ukraine was a
Wheat.
yes, well they produce fertilizer, nitrogen. They had a lot of the tools necessary to farm
Right.
for the soil in Africa and other places that are over in Europe. So they provided so much supply of that material to those countries that since they've been at war, that stuff has come way down. But again, none of those things have anything to do
Right.
with the rates going up and down for inflation.
Right.
So we're starting to see inflation come back down. We're starting to see home builders taper off what they were, the amount of houses that they're trying to build. And then you're all still seeing, which is kind of underplayed recently, is like Chase Bank and Blackstone and these large hedge funds are still buying large swaths of real estate and holding them and renting them out.
Yeah.
So every single day, the market for single family, and I'm not talking about condos and
Right.
apartments and all this other stuff, because they want us all living together, right? They want us all communal, renting basically. But all of that stuff is going down. And so I have this somewhat doom and gloom sometimes in our industry about how I think they're trying to push us into renting. They want everybody renting.
Right.
You lease your car, you
Yeah.
lease your music,
Yeah.
you don't own anything. What's that Klaus Schwab guy that's
Yeah.
with the IMF says,
Yeah.
they'll own nothing and they'll
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
kind of thing.
It's where it's perpetual income for them
That's
constantly.
right. That's where we're going. And so it just puts even more emphasis on the fact that, if you can buy a house, you need to get one, because it's not going to be available as well as it is now.
No. And I'll tell you, so going back to my previous career in personal training, obviously if you had a personal trainer, you were wealthy.
Sure. You had money.
And so every single one of my clients that I had, wealthy people, all of them had real estate.
Right.
All of them had multiple homes,
Income producing properties.
all of them,
Yep.
Ranches, whatever.
Yep.
It wasn't just a common thing. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not making any more of it.
No.
And so, it's going up. And,
Yes.
I can't tell you how many times I've quoted, telling my kids as we're driving past, that was a field when I was a kid. And, and you look at it, a good friend of mine, he's passed away now, but he was on contract to buy the field where Lowe's is now.
Okay.
Okay.
Off 287?
Off 287 here
Okay.
in Mansfield.
Yeah.
For $10,000. Okay.
Wow. When was that?
This would have been like in 81,
Okay.
83.
It's a long time ago, but
Long
still.
time ago. He said, I was afraid I would not get my money back.
Yeah.
And so, it's one of those where, it's a $4 million piece of property now, so,
Well, and that's the thing I think people lose sight of too, that don't, because, it's easy for us to sit here and go, oh, well, they should do this and they should do this. This is what we do. Like, this
Right.
is our job.
Right.
But I don't know that people understand, when you look at real estate in particular, how, even the guy that paid $30,000 over the list price 12 months to buy the house, or $40,000 over the list price. Okay. That wasn't the best decision at that time. His interest rate was really low, but he's paying a lot more cash out of pocket to get that piece of property.
Right.
And if that guy or gal had to get a new job or do something different and had to move, well, then in a short amount of time, in a year or two, okay, well, then probably taking a little bit of a bath on that. Right.
Right. Oh yeah.
Especially in this period of time where they
Right.
were up here
Yeah.
and now they're down here.
Yeah. It's going to take some recoup time.
Yes. But if that guy or gal owned that property for 5 or 10 or 12 or 20 years,
That 30,000 was nothing.
is nothing. It meant nothing,
Nothing.
because the amount of appreciation that you gained
Yeah.
in that period of time,
That absorption rate is so high.
is massive. Is
Yeah.
massive. Do you ever? So you're a listing agent. Do you ever talk to people when they're listing their house and, or want to call you to list their house and go, I don't think you should list this. I think you should keep it and turn it into a rental, and I'll help you buy something else.
No, several times. There's
Yeah.
been times where I've told people, I don't think you should sell this house. My wife and I would love to own this house.
Yeah.
Like, you don't realize how awesome this house is.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, I want to sell it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, why would you sell this?
Okay.
But it is what it is. People are, changing directions and, just doing different things. I don't need this many bedrooms anymore. Or,
So what would you tell somebody if they were trying to list their house today? okay, in this particular market, if you were sitting down with a new listing, or somebody preparing to list their house, like what would you tell them? Hey, make sure you do this. Make sure you do this. Here's where we're at. Don't list it at this price. List it at this. Like, what would your advice be to them?
First, obviously go in, running all the comps,
Yeah.
looking at how many days on market, looking at things like that. What homes are active, what's the competition looking like,
Yeah.
and then looking at what's sold.
Okay.
And you got to look at what's sold in the last 60 days.
Right. You can't go back.
You can't go
6 months ago.
June was a different animal.
Yep.
So looking at that, obviously getting the curb appeal up and this and that, but going into the major things, what issues do you have on HVAC?
Right.
The things that the inspectors are going to find.
Yeah.
First and foremost, let's correct those things first.
Because 12 months ago, you could sell it as is.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
You didn't have to do anything.
Yeah, there'd be a hole in the roof that a bowling ball went through, and people would be like, "I love it."
Yeah.
I love it.
We're gonna put a skylight there. It'll be amazing.
Yeah. I was not wanting a roof anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, it's just totally different animal now. So you almost have to go through with an inspector's frame of mind of what are they going to see? What are they going to want? These different things, and that way we can try to correct those.
What about your pricing strategy on how you do things like that? Like in this, are you setting it high and hoping they come in lower? Or are you setting it lower to try to get more bids? Like what?
The market is expecting price drop right now.
Right.
Everybody is, if it's to get a sales price and then not drop, so it's almost one of those like, you almost have to set it a little bit high and then give yourself room for
them to come down 10 grand or whatever.
For them to come down 10
or
grand.
ask for closing costs.
Yeah. Or some other concessions of,
Right.
We want, those water heaters are, 1985. We want new water heaters. Okay.
Right.
Please just take my home.
Yeah.
So
just try to sell it. Just take it.
Please. Actually, it's one of those where you do get comical with it. And in talking with other agents from other brokerages, it's always nice. I always call them before I list and hopefully, get feedback from them. What kind of activity are you getting?
Right.
And a lot of times, people are really cool. They'll tell you, hey, listen,
you call the agents of other houses that are in the neighborhood that are for sale?
that are a comp. Yeah. So I'll actually do that kind of homework and say, hey, where are y'all as far as showings? What kind of activity are you getting on open houses? And a lot of times agents are cool. Yeah. And they'll, we had 3 open houses. We had 4 people on this day. We tried a Sunday, but Cowboys were playing, and then so they give me feedback.
Yeah.
And so, but it's all in how you talk to somebody,
right?
And hopefully you don't get an arrogant agent, and but likewise, if somebody calls me,
you're gonna give them information.
Oh, without a doubt, because we're all trying to get food here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
if you had a new agent that came to you today and was like, hey, I want to get into real estate, and, which would be surprising right now. It's like, oh, but what, from your experience doing this for a while now, what are some, cornerstones of what you do that you would tell somebody, hey, look, if you're going to do this, you got to do this, and you got to do this, and you got to make sure you follow these steps. Like what would you tell somebody that was new coming into it?
Well, actually, I've got a good friend of mine. She's actually been an agent longer than I have, and she's down in the Austin area, and we were talking the other day, and she said, I'm at a roadblock. She said, the Austin market is so tough right now. She said it's literally just because the prices
they're just crazy.
They jump so high so fast.
Yeah.
And sellers are still thinking they can get that price, and buyers are thinking, no, we can't, this and that. And she said, and I'm not getting any leads. And, and I said, well, you got to get active in your church. You got to get active in the gym. You need to get yourself out there to where you're in a position that people don't have their guard up.
Right.
Because if I go cold call you and knock on your door and, hey, I'm an insurance agent, I'm a real estate agent,
you're going to come into every barrier you could possibly find.
Oh man, the roadblocks are up big time. So, get into situations where you're going to be getting those referrals coming from naturally organic situations,
right?
Not just I'm
like what do you do what are your I mean obviously I know you guys run, I know you do the cycling stuff.
I think my relationship with a lot of people in this community, my wife grew up here, her family's here, my family's here, you've
been here a long time.
Yeah. So I mean it's one of those where
You've met people from all walks.
Yeah,
and
I got a. So we sold one of the gyms in 2017. I got a call on Saturday. Hey, Justin, and a guy I've known for 30 years. He said, "Hey, what kind of deal can you hook me up with on that gym membership?" And I said, "Man,
so I've been out of that one a little bit.
I haven't owned that in 5 years, you know." So, you know, and I said, "But the owners are really cool people, and they just built a new building." So,
Yeah.
I said, "You know, give them a call; they'll definitely hook you up." But no, it's definitely, you know, where, you know, we've just known people.
Yeah, just
you know.
networked, been around for a while, and
Yeah,
and
yeah.
seen everybody. And,
Yeah. Exactly. And their guard is down with me.
Yeah.
Because they know me as, you know, hey, he's that real estate agent that's always, or that gym owner that's always been goofing around and this and that. So,
well, I mean, I love the fact that, you know, the relationship you have with your family, you know, everybody has good, you know, nobody's like, oh, I hate my family. Everybody loves their family. But you guys, I mean, you get everybody involved in everything. You know what I mean? Y'all do stuff together. Whether it be, you know, the running in the marathons or riding the bikes or, you know, making the videos or whatever it is that you're doing, you get your kids and your wife heavily involved. I mean, is that kind of another outlet for you guys to just spend time together? And
we're actually so tight. It's really cool how, you know, how our children interact with each other. They really are. There's times where we'll catch them holding hands walking down the street and stuff. And I mean, you know, reading books together. And I'm like, I know when I was 14, God,
you didn't have any interest in your younger sister. You weren't trying to talk to her. Like, leave me alone.
I was a punk. I mean, I was a kid getting kicked out of class all the time and stuff. I mean, just because I was pestering the teachers, you know. So, but definitely different. And so, you know, I'm actually getting DNA testing done on my son.
There's no way he could be mine. He's too nice.
The other day, I'm sitting there. He comes out of the shower, and I'm like, "Hey, you want some ice cream?" And he's like, "No, I already brushed my teeth." And I'm like, "What the hell is that? Like, you're 14. You don't want ice cream?" "No, I brushed my teeth."
I wasn't even going to ask you. I was just going to make you a bowl and hand it to you, but I just thought I'd ask at the last second. You said no.
Is that not bizarre? Who would say that?
Look, I got weird kids too. We try to offer them delicious things all the time, and all they do is turn their nose up. I tell them now, I think the only reason you don't want to eat this is because I offered it to you. Because if someone else would have offered you this, you would have absolutely eaten it. But since it came from my mouth and my hand, you're like, nah, I don't like that.
That's awesome.
I get the Heisman on that stuff all the time. So, do you intend, you know, to, you know, you only get so much time with your kids, right? Yeah. You just get a short window. And it seems like the same guy that I told you about that had the wife on the cruise or whatever, that was getting divorced. One of the things he also told me that, and I've heard this since then before, but is, you know, the days are really long, but the years are really short.
Yes.
You know, with your kids, in that they seem like when you're living in it, that it's like, oh, we got to go to this today, and we got to go to this other thing. And, you know, and I'm starting to experience a little bit with my kids. My wife and I, our daughter's a freshman in high school and our son's in junior high, 7th grader. And, you know, I used to coach them, and we used to be involved heavily in everything they did. And now we're still involved, but we're just becoming less and less.
Right.
And my daughter, you know, likes us less and less. You know, I mean, she likes us, but she just she don't want to hang out with us.
Yeah, friends.
Yeah, she don't want to watch a movie with us. She's got something better to do. And so you start feeling it. You're like, man, I've only got 4 more years with her. Really 3.
Right.
I've got 3 more years with her, and then she's gone.
She's gone.
And then I've got 5 more years with my son, and he's gone.
Right.
And then it's just going to be me and my wife. So it's like I got to cram every second I can in with them, because at some point it's going to go away.
It is. And this was last summer. I come in from taking out the trash, and I'm sitting there, and my wife is like, "What is wrong with you?" And because I had this look on my face, it was awful. And our next door neighbor, you know, we've seen this little boy grow up, and he's a year older than our son. And I said, "They've got a Razor scooter out by the trash." And my wife was like, and I said, "That is sad.
Yeah,
that's like."
It's like an era that's being thrown away and pushed
away. Yeah. As a little boy, my Razor scooter is everything.
Yeah.
And now it's gone. It's like Toy Story, you know, bye Woody. You know? And so,
that's what it is.
And I mean, you sit there and you look at it and you go, yeah, I mean, our time here is so short. And so, you know, and my wife asked, you know, the other day, cause I said, yeah, you know, I'm going to go ahead and get our son a new racing bike, cause he's grown. And I said, "Oh, we'll leave that out for Santa." And she's like, "He's 14. We're doing Santa still." And I said, "Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep doing Santa. It's fine. You're gonna be fine with it.
Exactly.
Well, and I know that you lost your mom
Yes.
earlier this year.
Yes.
And I could imagine that event
Yes.
made you even more so, aware and cognizant of what's
Yes.
going on with your kids and your family, because
Right.
having that loss, especially, I think it was unexpected, right? More
Oh
or
yeah.
less.
Yeah.
You realize the fleeting time that you have, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And one of the things that I'm upset with my mother about is she never really taught anybody how to make her Thanksgiving dressing. And so it's one of those like, and if my sister's going to watch this later, sorry, but the dressing you made,
It's not the same.
it's not the same.
No.
So,
Well, it probably won't ever be.
it won't.
Yeah.
No, but it was one of those where, so, and my wife has a recipe that she made that her mother made, and her mother's passed away. And so the other day, my wife is making that for Thanksgiving, this sweet potatoes. And I made both kids get in there and learn how to make this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I'm like, so there's things that mothers need to pass on. There's things that fathers need to pass on. There's things that, like when COVID did hit, I was like, and we're stuck at home, looking at each other.
Yeah.
I said, okay, I'm going to teach y'all where an oil pan is on a car. I'm going to
Yeah.
teach you, how to
Yeah.
check the transmission fluid. I'm
Yeah.
going to teach y'all. This is an air filter for a house. These are the things around a home. I want to pass this on to y'all because there's a lot of things that, as adults that you got to figure out.
Yeah.
And it's a lot easier if someone helps you out with
Absolutely.
that. So,
I mean, they do have YouTube now. We didn't have YouTube back in the day.
right.
But that's how I've learned most of the things. Because I was basically left unparented for the most part, so I had to kind of figure everything out on my own. Which sounds like maybe you had the same thing to some extent, but it does. Just the fact that you have two young kids and then you lose your mom, and it gets weird as an adult. Like I always used to give my dad a hard time because he like cried all the time. Like, why are you crying all the time, dude? Like, get yourself together. Like, pull yourself together. What are we doing here? And but now there's been a few instances in the last couple of years where I've caught myself. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, what is this? Why do I have these emotions all of a sudden? Why it's like you get old and all of a sudden you get soft, I know it's not soft. It's a good thing. But
it's a good thing.
but it's still
it's that razor scooter at the trash can.
Yeah.
It's when you see that you go, man, he's changed. He's grown. He's doing this now,
Mhm.
And I'll tell you one that, and my family, like you said, we're extremely tight, very tight. And the first one that hit me hard with my son, talking about, going out with their friends.
Yeah.
We're sitting there and my wife and daughter had a dance convention that only moms were invited to in Oklahoma, whatever. So I was with my son that night, all weekend.
Yeah.
And I just had a big closing, paid, it was $1 million home, 3%.
Oh, yeah.
Just money got wired in the account.
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah. I was like, this is fun. And I'm sitting there and he goes, hey, Dad, what's going on tonight? And I said, well, I just had a big closing. I want to celebrate. What if me and you go to Del Frisco's, you get the biggest filet they have, I'll get one. We'll pig out. We'll go to Dave and Buster's. We'll play some video games. Then we'll go ride go-karts. And then if we can make the 11 o'clock showing, there's that new Marvel movie that came out. We can get tickets for that. And
Yeah.
Oh, well, me and my friends were going to go ride bikes.
You had this whole thing ready to go.
I'm like, oh my gosh. And I told this buddy of mine about it. And he goes, why didn't you call me? I would love to go to Del Frisco's and eat steaks and
I would have gone with you.
I love skee ball. Skee ball's awesome. But no, yes. So making the most time with your kids, my son is in a spelling bee on Monday.
Okay.
And I promise you, there's no way that this is going to go past like second round.
Right.
I mean, not if he's mine. Not if he's mine.
Hey, Dad, I'm in a spelling bee. You're like, yeah, are you sure about that?
Well, but my wife did inform me. She goes, I'll have you know, I went to the UIL state competition for spelling bee. And
okay.
I'm like, well, maybe that's where he's getting
Maybe
it.
you got it from you. I don't know.
I know he didn't get it from me because half of my Google searches are spelling words.
How do you spell this?
Exactly. Worcestershire. So,
Well, we're just a little over an hour now,
Oh,
so I know
man.
it goes fast, doesn't it?
It does.
It goes really quick. But I wanted to get before we go, I wanted to, and you kind of gave me this a little bit, but where do you think we're headed in our market, and what are you doing to kind of prepare for that? And then what do you think Justin's life looks like in 10 years when the kids are gone and you're living it up with your lovely bride? Like where are we headed? What's the future hold for us?
Okay. As far as real estate, I'm predicting that we're going to head into somewhat of an inventory shortage again.
Yep.
Because the new builds are they're slowing down what they're doing, and it's still taking a long time to build.
Yes.
They're not turning them over as quick.
Labor's an issue.
Right. So with the new starts being slow, like they're not doing the new starts right now that they need to be, that we're going to hit that inventory shortage again, and then which is going to cause the price jump again in the pre-owned.
Yes.
So that's what I'm predicting on that end.
Yeah.
We could see some rates jump back up into the possibly 7.5s and 8s. They could jump up there because feds have talked about that and this and that, but ultimately they're going to come back down.
Yeah.
I mean, everything cycles.
Yep.
Everything cycles. So, in the event that we hit that perfect storm again, where those pre-owned homes are not started or going and the rates are down, it's going to be,
another bidding war.
Yep. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I agree with you. I think that's where it is too.
Yeah. So, and now as far as me, eventually, we've got so many connections and friends and family here in the Metroplex, but Scottsdale is so nice.
Arizona's calling your name.
Arizona. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I could also foresee me being the old guy with the skullet.
The skullet. Okay.
Yeah. The skullet.
You just have it ringed here and then all coming down in the back. Yeah.
And a pair of, one pair of cutoffs that I wear, and, that's all I'm rocking.
Yeah.
And, living down in, Fort Walton or something, I could see that,
I told my wife I wanted to get, those, the mechanics onesies, like that you zip up and you have the buckles and the strap, but it's just one.
Yeah.
There's like green ones and tan ones. I was like, I'm going to have like 7 of those, 7 different colors.
Yes.
And I'm going to have no underwear and no nothing else. It's just that I'm going to get out of bed. I'm going to zip that bastard up and I'm going to go sit on my porch with a broom and yell at people as they drive by. That's my retirement plan.
That sounds awesome.
Hey, I always wanted to be the old guy from his porch yelling at people to slow down. Like that's been my dream forever. When they're driving, you need to slow down. You're going too fast. That's where I'm trying to head. I got lofty goals in life, Justin. Lofty goals.
Well, and like I told you, I've known your home for quite some time.
Oh yes, that's right. Yes.
For our viewers and listeners, what's funny is when Mike and his wife, the home that they're in, when they bought that home, it was previously owned and built by good friends of mine of 35, 40 years. That
is that the Fords?
No, way before them.
Okay,
the Millers.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and when they were building it, money got tight. And so they would let me as a kid and their daughter and other friends draw on the walls.
Oh yeah. I forgot about this.
Yeah. So then one day I got a message from Mike's wife. She was tearing off the wallpaper and she said, "Hey, next time you're doing vandalism, don't write your full name." And so I was like, "No, the homeowners let me write my full name."
It was okay. They said it was fine.
Yeah.
Yes, I forgot we were cleaning out. She found your name on the wall. So yes, it's crazy how many people know our house. It's I guess it's been there for a long time.
It was a party house before you made it a party house.
Before we made it a party house. Yes. Well, man, I really appreciate you coming and spending some time with me today. It was a lot of fun, as I anticipated it would be. I didn't quite finish all my whiskey yet, but we will here in just a little bit. So we'll definitely have to do it again sometime. But I hope you guys have a really good Christmas and have a great holidays. And we'll have to get at this again. You got anything else to say before we go?
No, just everybody remember, rise and grind.
Rise and grind.
Get after it.
If you want to sell your house and have a hilarious video made for it, give Justin a call, and he will make all of your comedy dreams come true. So
I do have a Saturday Night Live one coming up. So
yes, I'm excited. I can't wait for the premiere of that. Well, I definitely have to push those out with that. Well, I appreciate everybody that hung around with us for a little while, and anybody that's watching this later. And we'll see you on the next one. See you guys.